It started with a simple text notification. My wife was in the shower, and her coworker's name flashed across her phone. What seemed like an innocent message quickly unraveled into a web of deceit, exposing a betrayal that would shatter our world and change everything I thought I knew about loyalty. Tuesday evening. Nothing special, nothing unusual. Just another weeknight in our comfortable suburban home where routines had settled into a rhythm we'd perfected over 7 years of marriage. I was sprawled on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, half watching a documentary about deep-sea creatures. The kind of evening where you're present but not really there, you know? Sarah had just stepped into the shower upstairs. I could hear the water running through the pipes, that familiar sound that marked the transition between her workday and our evening together. Then it happened. Ping. Her phone lit up on the coffee table beside me, face up. Screen glowing with a notification that would crack open our entire world. Thinking about you, tonight was amazing, can't stop replaying it in my mind. The sender, Marcus, her coworker Marcus. My first reaction wasn't suspicion, it was confusion. Marcus from the marketing department. The guy she'd mentioned occasionally over dinner, the one who'd helped with that big presentation last month. My brain immediately went into rationalization mode. You know how it does when something doesn't quite add up, but you're not ready to face what it might mean. Probably a group text sent to the wrong person, I told myself. Maybe he's talking about a work event, a successful pitch, team drinks. But even as I tried to dismiss it, something cold settled in my stomach. A weight, a knowing. That gut feeling that screams at you when something is fundamentally wrong, even when your conscious mind is still manufacturing excuses. The water was still running upstairs. I stared at that phone like it was a live grenade. My hand was shaking as I reached for it. This was a line we'd never crossed, checking each other's phones. We'd always prided ourselves on trust, on respecting boundaries, on not being that couple who needed to monitor each other's digital lives. But that message, those words. Tonight was amazing. What happened tonight? Sarah came home at 6:30, same as always. We'd had leftover lasagna. She'd seemed normal, maybe a little distracted, but nothing alarming. I picked up her phone. No passcode. We'd always been open like that. The screen unlocked with a swipe, and I opened the message thread with Marcus. What I found made my blood run cold. The messages went back weeks, dozens of them. Missed you today. That thing you did yesterday. I haven't stopped thinking about it. My place or yours this Friday? Heart emojis, inside jokes, pet names I'd never heard her use, and photos, nothing explicit but intimate enough. Her smile in pictures I'd never taken, her wearing outfits I'd never seen, timestamps that matched evenings she'd claimed to be working late, lunch breaks that had apparently stretched into afternoon hotel visits. My chest tightened. The room spun. Every message was a knife, each one cutting deeper than the last. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a joke. This was systematic, deliberate, ongoing. The most recent messages painted a clear picture. They'd met up this afternoon during her extended lunch meeting. The details were there, casual and comfortable, like lovers who'd been doing this for so long it had become routine. The water shut off upstairs. I don't remember walking to the bathroom. I don't remember the exact words that came out of my mouth when I pushed open the door. But I remember her face when she saw me standing there, holding her phone with the message thread displayed. All the color drained from her face. She clutched the towel tighter around herself, and for a split second she looked like a stranger. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. "Tell me this isn't what it looks like," I said. My voice sounded hollow, disconnected from my body. She tried denial first. "It's not, we're just friends. You're misunderstanding." I read them, Sarah. All of them, the hotels, the lunches. "Tonight was amazing. What happened tonight that was so amazing." That's when she broke. The towel dropped slightly as she covered her face with both hands, and the tears came, not the gentle kind, the ugly, gasping kind that shook her entire body. "It started 6 months ago," she choked out between sobs. "After the conference in Chicago, we were drunk. It was supposed to be one time, just one stupid mistake. But of course, it wasn't one time. It never is. One mistake became two, became weekly meetings, became an entire shadow relationship running parallel to our marriage. Marcus had been persistent, she said, charming, attentive in ways she claimed I hadn't been lately, as if that justified anything. The timeline she laid out was devastating. Date nights where she'd been texting him under the table. Weekends where she'd claimed to visit her sister but had actually been with him. Our anniversary dinner. She'd stepped away to call him from the restaurant bathroom. Every memory I had was now contaminated, rewritten with this new, terrible knowledge. The next 48 hours were a blur of raw emotion and impossible decisions. Sarah alternated between desperate apologies and defensive justifications. I moved into the guest room. Sleep was impossible anyway, but I couldn't let Marcus walk away without confronting what he'd done. He knew she was married. He'd been to our house for a company barbecue, for God's sake. He'd shaken my hand and made small talk about football while carrying on this affair behind my back. I called him. The conversation was brief and ugly. He had the audacity to claim he didn't know it was serious between them, as if that made it better. As if his ignorance absolved him of destroying someone else's marriage. I told him exactly what I thought of him, what I'd be telling HR on Monday, and that if I ever saw him near my wife again, we'd have a very different kind of conversation. He blocked my number before I finished talking. The betrayal wasn't just Sarah's, it was everyone who'd known. Her best friend Jen had covered for her twice. Marcus's girlfriend had apparently suspected but said nothing. Even some of Sarah's coworkers had seen them together, laughing over intimate lunches, and no one thought to mention it. Loyalty, I learned, is far rarer than we'd like to believe. 3 months later, I'm writing this from a new apartment across town. We tried counseling, 2 sessions before I realized my heart wasn't in the work of rebuilding. Some betrayals cut too deep. Some trust, once shattered, can't be reassembled into anything functional. Sarah still works at the same company, though Marcus quietly transferred to another office. She texts occasionally, asking how I am, whether there's any chance. I keep my responses brief and cordial. Maybe someday I'll forgive her, but forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. The scars from this run deeper than I expected. I find myself suspicious of everyone now. I check timestamps. I notice when stories don't quite align. I've become the person I never wanted to be, hyper-vigilant, guarded, unable to fully trust. But I'm also learning to protect my peace. I'm establishing boundaries I should have had all along. I'm prioritizing my own emotional well-being instead of sacrificing it to keep others comfortable. That text notification changed everything. It exposed not just an affair, but fundamental truths about loyalty, honesty, and the fragility of the lives we build together. Sometimes the worst betrayals start with the simplest ping.